Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to tackle a classic, and I mean classic, business problem. You've got a whole portfolio of different products. So how on earth do you decide where to place your bets?
I want you to picture this. You've got your whole product lineup. Some are total hits, they're just flying off the shelves. Others are, well, they're just kind of there. You know you can't invest in everything equally. So how do you decide which products get all your precious resources and which ones maybe get the axe? It's a really tough question, but it's absolutely critical for any business.
Well, way back in the 1970s, the Boston Consulting Group came up with this brilliantly simple framework to solve this exact problem. It's called the BCG Matrix. You might also hear it called the Growth Share Matrix. And what it does is give you this incredibly clear visual map to start making much smarter investment decisions.
Now, the real power of this matrix is its simplicity. It organizes your entire portfolio into just 4 categories, and it does that based on only 2 key factors: how fast the market is growing and how big your slice of that market is. That's it. So let's break these 4 quadrants down.
First up, we have the stars. And yeah, the name pretty much says it all. These are the rock stars of your portfolio. They're the products that are shining super bright and capturing everyone's attention.
So your stars are your leaders in markets that are just exploding. Think of the top smartphone in today's tech race. Now they need a ton of cash to fend off competitors and to keep up that crazy growth. But here's the payoff. They have the potential to become the foundation of your business tomorrow. So the strategy here is crystal clear. You invest. You pour resources into them to protect their position.
Next, we've got the steady, the reliable, and the incredibly valuable cash cows.
Cash cows are your established leaders, but they're in mature, low-growth markets. The beauty of these is they don't really need a lot of investment anymore. They just kind of sit there and generate a consistent, strong stream of profit. Think about a classic soda brand that's been a market leader for decades. The strategy here? You harvest. You take all that cash and you use it to fund your stars and your other promising ventures.
Okay, now for the real wild cards of the portfolio, the question marks. These guys are in those exciting, high-growth markets, but you haven't managed to grab a big market share just yet. They're the classic gamble. If you pump a ton of investment into them, they could become your next star. But if you don't, or if you bet wrong, they could totally fizzle out and become a dog. So this forces a really critical choice. The strategy is to evaluate. Do you double down, or is it time to cut your losses?
And finally, we get to the dogs. You know, it's a harsh name, but honestly, it reflects a tough business reality.
Dogs have a weak position in a slow growth, maybe even a stagnant market. They generate very little profit. In fact, they can often drain resources and a lot of management attention. So unless they serve some other really specific strategic purpose, the standard advice is to divest. Phase them out, free up those resources, and put them into more promising products.
Okay, let's just put that all together in a quick summary. High growth, high share, that's a star. You invest. Low growth, high share, a cash cow. You harvest. High growth, low share, that's your question mark. Time to evaluate. And low growth, low share, that's a dog. You divest. Simple when you see it all laid out, right?
So that's all the theory. But how do you actually apply this to a real business? Let's move from the idea to the practical steps and see how this thing builds into a really powerful strategy. It's really a pretty straightforward 5-step process. First, you gather up all the data on your products, their market growth and your relative market share. Step 2, you physically plot each one on the grid. 3, you step back and you analyze where everything lands. Step 4, this is the big one, you make those crucial decisions about where your money and time should go. And step 5, and this is so important, this isn't a one-time thing. Markets change, so you have to regularly review and update your matrix. It's a living document.
And to see just how powerful this is, let's look at one of the biggest companies on the planet, Apple.
I mean, Apple's portfolio is a perfect example of this matrix in action. The iPhone? That's their undeniable star, dominating the smartphone market. The MacBook? It's a mature, highly profitable cash cow. Apple TV Plus is a classic question mark. It's battling it out in the high-growth streaming wars, but it's got a smaller share than its rivals. And the iPod? Well, that once revolutionary product eventually became a dog as its market just disappeared. This right here is strategic portfolio management.
Let's look at one more tech giant, just to make sure this really sinks in. Let's talk about Google, or more accurately, its parent company, Alphabet.
Google's search business, it might be one of the biggest cash cows in history. It generates enormous profits from a pretty mature market, and Alphabet uses that cash to fund its big bets on the future. One of those big bets is Waymo, its self-driving car project. It is a textbook question mark. It's operating in a market with massive growth potential, but it's still totally uncertain if it will ever become a star.
So after all of that, what's the single most important takeaway from the BCG Matrix? Well, it really all comes down to the flow of cash.
At the end of the day, it's pretty simple. Your cash cows are the engine. They provide the cash. Your stars and your question marks, they use that cash to grow and fight for market leadership. A healthy business needs a balance, right? You need products that generate money, and you need promising products to invest that money in for your future growth.
And that leaves us with one final thought to take with you. Every company has them. Products that are just draining resources without offering much in return. So take a hard look at your own work, at your own company, and ask yourself this. Which product in our portfolio is a dog in disguise?
Hey, if you found this strategic framework useful, you should know that this is really just the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole world of product strategy out there, from discovery and design all the way to lifecycle management, just waiting to be explored. To keep leveling up your strategic thinking, especially in the world of AI, I highly recommend subscribing to the AI Product Management Playbook by Deepak Dio on LinkedIn. You'll get the latest strategies on AI, digital transformation, and product leadership all directly from an expert in the field. Seriously, check it out. Thanks for watching.